Good morning, class. I hope you all had a great day so far. Today we are going to be talking about area and the art of composing and decomposing figures to find the area. So first thing I want you to do is to look around the classroom and find shapes. Just yell out where you see a shape. The window. The window is a shape. Yep, this clock is the circle. Good. What about your Chromebooks? What shape is your Chromebooks? Right, there's shapes all around. Everything is a shape. So today we're going to find out how much area it takes up. So the space of a board it takes up. Here I have a square, so let's talk about squares first. In order to find the area of a square, we multiply one side by the other side. A square all has equal sides, so for this example, my bottom of my square is 4 inches long, and the side is 4 inches long. So we're going to do 4 times 4. So the formula for this is A equals S squared. A stands for area, and S stands for side. So 4 squared, 4 times 4 is 16. That is the amount of space that this square takes up on this giant square, my whiteboard, right? So let's now talk about the area of a rectangle. So if you guys look at the windows, they are formed with 2 squares into a rectangle. Okay? The area of a rectangle is area equals length times width. So if we have just the top of the window, we have this 4 times 4. This is a square, so this would be S squared. Now, if I take this and turn it into what our window looks like, I'm composing these 2 figures together to make a rectangle. For this experiment, we'll just put it over here to compose it together. How are we going to find this? If it's a rectangle, what is our formula? Length times width. So if this is 4 inches and this is 4 inches, what is our length going to be? 8. Alright, if this is 4 inches and this is 4 inches, what is our width going to be? It's going to be 4 because they're the same. We're not making that any longer. It would be different if we would put it like this. Then we'd be making the width longer, the width a bigger number. But this way, we're making the length a bigger number. So in order to find the rectangle, we're going to do 8 times 4, which is 32. So this is how we are composing 2 figures to make a rectangle to find the area. Now if these 2 pieces right here were like this, and I asked you guys to find the area of the 2 blue filled in squares on my board, how would you find them? True, you could find the area of each one, then add them together. Very good. Or we can do what we just did and just slide this up here and make it a rectangle. So now let's talk about the area of a triangle. The formula for an area of a triangle is A equals half B times H. A stands for area. Everyone knows what half is. That's already the number. B is base and H is height. So if we come over here, I have it already written out. The base is 5. And the height, which is this dotted line, is 7. Now, the reason we have the dotted line down the middle is because these side lengths right here on our triangle are at a slant, and they're actually longer than our height. But for the area, we're trying to find the base times the height. So we're going to do 5 times 7 times half. So then here's our formula for that. Now, there are times we're going to get a rectangle like this, where I'm only going to give you the center of the rectangle. It's going to be split by a line, and I'm going to give you that measure and the side measure. How are we going to figure out this rectangle, this area of this rectangle, if we don't know what the length is? We can do it by splitting it up into 2 triangles. We know that this is 6 inches and this is 10 inches, and we can do it by finding this triangle, the area of this triangle, in the area of this triangle, then putting them together, adding them together. Here's a tricky one. Alright, can anyone tell me what shape this is? Yes, good. Now, I don't have a formula up here written for that. How do we figure this out? Because we can't use the area of a square because all sides are not equal. Can't use a rectangle because the top and the bottom are uneven and the side lengths don't look even. And we can't use the area of a triangle because it's not a triangle. Triangle only has 3 sides. What we can do is split this into a triangle like I showed you on our rectangle. It's the same thing. All you have to make sure is you put the line in the right spot, okay? We're going to go from this corner to this corner. And here we have the height. The 5, the dotted line, shows you that this is the height. So our height is 5 inches. And all we have to do is flip these around. 8 is our base for this triangle, and our height is 5. So we do the area of a triangle, half times base times height. And then we'll do the same thing for this top one. So we'll have half times 8 times 5 and half times 4 times 5. But I asked for the area of both of them, of the whole thing. So what do we have to do? Right, we have to add these together. So now you may ask, how do these formulas, why do we need to know the area? Okay, we're just drawing on a board. Why is it important? Well, let's look at the wall with the windows on it. How did the people building the building, how did they know how much room to leave for the window? They had to know the space the window was going to take up. Okay, who here plays sports? Do I have any basketball players in here? All right, so here's our next example. Here's a basketball court, all right? I rounded so it's not perfect, but we have the length 100 feet and the width 50 feet. So this is a rectangle. So if I ask you to find the area of this basketball court, what are you going to do? Our formula is area equals length times width. So, looking for area, our length is 100 and our width is 50. Right? So our area is going to be, if I could make my 5, our area is 5,000 feet, which seems kind of crazy, right? That's our area of the whole thing. Now, let's say I'm making the court, let's just have fun and say we're making the court pink, okay? The whole court's going to be pink, except for the, in right here, this little shaded area, okay? See, that's going to be black, all right? When I'm laying my tiles down, how do I know how much area I'm going to need pink and how much area I'm going to need black? Well, if we look over here, we have 12. Here's another, it's our mini rectangles. We have our 12 and 6. So to find the area of this piece right here, it's going to be A equals our length times width, which is, our length is 12 times our width is 6, right? 72. Now, we just found the area of this area that's going to be black. But we have the same amount over here. So this is going to be multiplied by 2 in order to find both sides, how much area we're going to need black. So how much area, how much of this are we going to need pink? How are we going to figure that out? If this is inside, okay, when we did the 100 times 50, we included that. That's included in the full area. How are we going to figure this out? Right, we're going to take our 5,000, which included all that, and then subtract the 2 areas inside to be, to find the area that's going to be pink. So now we're going to look at this shape, this figure, which is going to be a little bit trickier. But we talked about composing. We put 2 rectangles together. This is kind of decomposing because we're taking out sections. So now we're going to go back to composing, okay? I have a question mark here. What is this length? Okay? This is 2, this is 2. This whole thing is 6. 2 plus 2 is 4, right? So if we know this whole length is 6, we have to know that this is 2 and this is 2, which makes this 4. How are we going to find the area of this? Yes, we can make this line here and make this into a rectangle, but we don't know how long this is, do we? Because if this is our line, well then we don't know how big this whole section right here is, because we have the whole thing being 10, but we don't know what this is. But we do because of this 4, right? So in order to find the area of this box, this first box right here, we can multiply 6 times 4, because the 4 is going to be the length, and then we can find these areas and add them together. Now there's another way of doing this. Don't mind my bad drawing. 6, 10, 2, 2, 4, and 4. Another thing we can do is close this box up. Alright? We are composing a box. We're closing it up. Therefore, this whole area is full. Okay, so now all we have to do to find this whole area is 6 times 10. But this is empty. So how are we going to, we do 6 times 10, that's 60. Now we have to get rid of this area, which we know is a square because we have 4 and 4. So we're going to subtract 4 times 4, which is 16, which is 44. So the area of this figure right here is 44. So now what you're going to do is I have some worksheets for you. Also, I want you to go around the room, find shapes, do measurements. There's rulers at your desks so you can go measure things, like measure the windows. Look at your Chromebooks. If you have your Chromebook closed and you have the surface area, just the area of the top, it's going to be different than when you open it, because then you have to compose 2 rectangles together to find the whole area of your Chromebooks, right? Because you have the keyboard and the screen. So you'll do that. Work on some, if you get done fast, work on the bonus questions I put at the end of your worksheets. We'll split up into groups and we'll get going.